Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. As I think many of us were fully expecting, it does seem as though the Tyranids are getting some much deserved love in the upcoming Warzone Octarius Book 1, and I mean that makes sense. Octarius is pretty much the big Tyranid and Orc battleground in the lore, so it would be very odd if there was nothing new for them at all in this Warzone book. But GW today have started to give us our first little teasers at what might be coming and what might be changing for the Tyranids in this book. And it appears as though Synapse is going through some pretty significant changes, and with what appears to be their chapter command style upgrade tree, the Synaptic Link system is set to give your swarm some absolutely incredibly strong and extremely wide-ranging buffs. And they show us a couple so that we can see exactly what we may be getting, with the Brood Lord specific Mastery of the Shadows giving you an awesome buff of not only giving a unit within its aura light and heavy cover, but also meaning that enemies over 12 inches away treat that unit as being in dense cover as well, so giving you that very tasty -1 to be hit. This is a 15-point upgrade, which to me seems incredible for giving that important squad of Gaunts or Gene Stealers that extra armor save, as well as the potential -1 to hit to keep them alive as you charge them up the board. It's also, in my opinion, incredibly fluffy as well, showing how the Hive Mind uses its bigger and more independent and more important units to help support and buff and improve the efficiency of its lesser, more feral units. Next up, they show off the Neurothrope specific Psychic Creep, which again is a relatively cheap 15-point upgrade and allows a unit around it to project its own 6-inch aura, which reduces the leadership of enemies by 1 and also forces them to subtract 1 from combat attrition tests, meaning you can quite easily chain a lot of -1 leadership across your enemy's army and force them to suffer some horrific losses through combat attrition as your swarm advances up and engages them in melee. And it's important to note that this doesn't buff all the units within 12 inches. You can't have, say, hundreds of Gaunts with -1 to be hit, for example. It is one unit within that aura that you select. But what is the most powerful part of this new Synaptic Link ability, in my opinion, is that with the Synaptic Link range, which you can see on your screen now, this almost lets you skip this ability across and through your entire army as long as you have enough Synapse creatures to do so. So say there is a combat going on the other end of the board and you really want to make that unit fail its leadership test and then lose a load of models through combat attrition, but your only Neurothrope is way out of that 12-inch range. Well, as long as you have enough Synapse creatures between the Neurothrope and the unit that you want to target, it can almost daisy chain this ability its way across the battlefield and get that buff onto the specific unit all the way on the other end of the field. It is an incredibly flexible, powerful and fluffy sounding little rule that really will allow you to buff whichever specific unit you need to do, even if the unit doing the buffing isn't as close as you would like it to be. And this also means that you can potentially keep some of your more vulnerable buffing units like the Neurothropes back and safe away from your enemy, and still get all of their incredibly powerful buffs to the frontline units where it's absolutely needed. And I really cannot wait to see what other abilities this sort of thing gives to other Synapse creatures like Hive Tyrants and that sort of thing. I think it could be really interesting to see just how you can tailor your playstyle and tailor your lists and your armies, knowing that you can get these buffs pretty much anywhere on the board as long as you plan things out nicely, but also give you that incentive to really keep your Synapse creatures safe and look after them so that you can do this almost network of buffs throughout your army. And I will be honest with you, this does seem like a pretty significant change to things Synapse related for the Tyranids, so I'm not entirely convinced, but this has kind of got me thinking that maybe in December it won't be a Gene Stealer Cult Codex, maybe it will be Tyranids, because although this new rule is coming in the new Warzone Octarius, it does seem like such a big change that maybe they would want to get the Codex out and really play on it and you know, use new abilities and have new buffs and stuff for the units that interacts with this Synaptic Link. So maybe the Tyranid Codex is going to be the one coming in December to coincide with these pretty significant changes to how Tyranids are going to play. I don't know, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, and the rumour of the Custodes Genestealer Cult box is still pretty much the prevalent one, I think, so that does kind of lend itself to being a Genestealer Cult Codex, but this could be a pretty sneaky out of left field change if the Tyranid Codex was the one that came out in December. And this does look like it's going to be a really interesting, really unique set of abilities to really change up how you build a Tyranids list and how you deploy and how you actually position them on the battlefield, which I think is a really, really fun thing for Tyranid players to kind of get their heads around. But what do you think of this newly previewed rule? Do you think it's going to be a big change for the Tyranids and it will help them to become a bit more competitive? Or is there still a lot more needed to get them back to the galaxy-eating threat that they are meant to be? And also, do you think this means that we will see a Tyranid Codex sooner rather than later? Or will it just be the Custodes Genestealer Cults Codex like we originally thought? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I will catch you later, guys.